What's going on, guys? Bianca here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through something that is absolutely destroying your business, and that is the difference between creating a niche for yourself and picking industries. So let's get into it. Right, guys, so before we hop into the computer, I've got a little presentation set up there. I just wanted to say over 70% of you aren't actually subscribed to the channel. So if that is you, make sure that you hit that post notification bell, hit the subscribe button so that you never miss another upload, because we are uploading frequently again. We've got a new camera set up as well, which is awesome, so hopefully we can start churning out these videos on a regular basis. If you see my dog in the background is living her best life, so if not for me, do it for her. Drop her a subscribe. So let's hop into the machine. Right, guys, so here we are inside of my computer. Now, what I want to talk about is the difference between having an industry that you are going to target, so things like restaurants, bars, gyms, lawyers, estate agents, all of that stuff, creating a niche for yourself. So that means creating a space that no one wants to serve, or that very little people serve, with a specific outcome or service that you provide, and a set of characteristics which binds all those people together. So it'll make more sense once we go through it, but we'll talk through it then. An industry is not a niche. Now, like I said to you, going after things like gyms, restaurants, bars, estate agents, lawyers, car dealerships, these are all really saturated industries. And I mean saturated in the fact that they are very stereotypical, and they are usually the industries that people advise you to go and target. Now, they have been successful in the past, but things are changing. Like, social media marketing is it's such a big niche now. It's such a big industry now, and people are all advising people to, go after these same industries. So when it comes to it, you are actually you've put yourself in what we call a red ocean. So that means that there are hundreds of fish, but there are thousands of hooks and people trying to reel in these fish. Now, what we want to do is put ourselves in a blue ocean. So we want to create something or a little space for ourselves so that people cannot compare us to other marketing agencies. So people can't compare our offer to someone else's, so that we don't then get driven down on price. The one thing that we don't ever want to do is become a commodity offer, because, like I said, then we were just competing on the pedantics of it. So, if you're offering this, if two people are offering the same thing, they're going to go with the cheaper one because they don't see the value in it. But if you create a niche for yourself, you can actually start charging those premium prices because you're not being compared to another agency that has reached out to them. Now, the next... Okay, so like I said, the typical industries that you have that people will tell you, like, because there's loads of gurus out there, and I've advised it myself, but the typical industries that people tell you to go for, they're lawyers, e-commerce, gyms, restaurants, estate agents. These are, like I said, industries, but the importance or the popularity of industries fluctuates. So what that means is, for instance, with restaurants, when COVID happened, it wiped out an entire amount. I don't even know if I can say COVID, the things going on these days. But when the situation in the world happened, it wiped out an entire industry. And what that means is every person that serviced restaurants struggled because they didn't know what to do. Like, they were like, well, how do we help? Like, they're not taking bookings anymore because the restaurants are shut. So if they had pivoted and they said, okay, so what we do is we help restaurants generate new custom through digital marketing, and we increase online purchases without the use of things like Uber Eats and Deliveroo, etc., etc. That's creating a niche within itself. So you could say to a restaurant, okay, so we don't really deal with running ads to get your tables filled. What we do is we build up your takeaway service, and we do it without the use of Deliveroo, Uber Eats, etc., because those services charge a premium to be on their platform. We do it at a fraction of the cost, and we'll do it in 90 days. Give them a time frame. Anything that you start to commoditize, if you just said, yeah, we help people get more customers in their restaurants, you're going to sound like every single other person that is out there, and every other agency that is targeting restaurants. So what we want to do is we want to try and tweak it and create a space for ourselves. So you've just made yourself extremely niche because you've just said, well, we don't deal with restaurant tables, we deal with online orders, and we do it without the use of Deliveroo, and we do it in 90 days, and it'll do it at a fraction of the cost. You've been specific, and that means then you're not only restricted to restaurants. You could then go into things like meal prep agencies, meal prep companies, for instance. That is another area that would fit into your niche because they make meals, they deliver via online orders, and you can do it in a fraction of the cost compared to, you know, other platforms. So it's creating them. So you're not limited to an industry then. You then open yourself up to many industries, but while creating a niche within those agencies. So like I said, industries tend to come and go, and if anything has been shown to us over the last year and a half is that is abundantly true. E-commerce has obviously shot up because of the restrictions that were in place, and that went for all over the world. Like, it didn't matter where you were or what happened, the restrictions were in place, and it really did limit what we could do for people. The other way of looking at it as well is that you could pick a product. If you turn around to people and say, okay, so I help sun cream, people who sell sun cream increase their bottom line by £10,000 in 90 days or less using email marketing, you've created a niche for yourself. That could be anyone. You could use shops, you could go to supermarkets, you could go to holiday shops, e-commerce stores. There are so many different places that could sell sun cream. You've not limited yourself to an industry. You've actually created a niche for yourself that fits within multiple different industries. So this is what we want to do when we start thinking about creating a niche. We don't want to limit ourselves and be restricted by the constraints of an industry that could be affected by another global issue, or, you know, or, you know, a change in wind when it comes to popularity in an industry. These things, once you create that niche for yourself, it is so much easier to then broaden your horizons and create a blue ocean for yourself rather than constantly swimming in these red oceans. So the best thing about creating a niche for yourself is that you can now start charging premium prices because no one is able to compete with you because you're not actually offering the same service. Even though the nuts and bolts of it may be the same and the delivery vehicle may be the same, you may use Facebook ads, you may use Instagram ads, you may use Google, you know, email, whatever. You're not actually telling them that. What you're telling them is, I help this type of person with this specific problem and I do it in this time frame. That is creating a niche for yourself. So now you're not being compared to Tom Jones down the road who is, you know, servicing restaurant owners, and they get they help you book more tables. That's it. So the way that you're packaging it is different, so that you're no longer having to compete on price because you do something that is very specific. And on top of that, it creates an air of expertise. Who would you want to work with? Would you want to work with someone who says, oh, we just help restaurants? Or would you want to work with someone that says, we specifically grow your online presence to bring in more orders via online so that you keep more profits in your pocket? Who would you want to work with more? Who sounds like they are an expert in their field? You're going to go with the second guy, right? And the person that you want to be is the second guy. You have to make an effort to really create something new and create a lane for yourself so that you don't then, like I said, have to beat your prices down because someone else has offered the exact same thing. You know, like I said, if you went into a shop and you've got two different things, two of the same thing on the shelf, and one's £100 and one's, you know, £2, which one are you going to go for? You're going to go for the one that's £2. You're not going to go for the £100 one unless you see immense value, which you're not going to see by offering the same thing. You are going to have to meet that agency at the same, or at the very least drop down slightly. And the only thing that's going to sort of sway that after price is going to be time frame, and obviously the ability to, or their perceived, the only thing that's going to come into factor then is the time frame. So can you do it quicker than them? And then obviously whether or not they believe that you can deliver the results that you are promising. So before you even get to all that, we can eradicate that by creating a lane for ourselves that takes us away from competing on a molecular level. So I've given you a few examples as we go along, but what you'll see here is a couple of examples of what I am talking about in terms of creating a niche rather than going after an industry. So you could say we help businesses that sell co-working space reach capacity each month using Google Ads. Now, that doesn't mean that you only work with co-working spaces like Spaces. It could mean that it's an office that's trying to utilize a boardroom that they don't actually use very much, and they want to create more space like that. It could be, you know, a restaurant that's got meeting rooms upstairs that they don't ever utilize. They want to make the most of it. So you're hopping around industry, but the niche of people that you serve already all have common characteristics because they all have meeting spaces available that they can rent out. So the industry then becomes irrelevant. Same can be said for coffee shops. So we help businesses that sell coffee beans generate more first-time buyers each month using Facebook ads. Again, that doesn't have to be just coffee companies. It could be any company in any industry that sells coffee beans. It could be anywhere. So what you're doing is now completely breaking down the walls of industry and creating spaces for yourself where you can thrive. And it also, again, positions you as an expert. Moving on from that, following the crowd is a surefire way of staying broke because you have to compete. You are creating a pool of just absolute mayhem where everyone's fighting. So you got 500 people fighting for one client. That is really high odds, and you don't want to be competing on that because 9 times out of 10, unless you are an established brand with an established agency with fantastic case studies and a really compelling offer, you're going to lose out, especially if you're starting out. You're going to lose out to the big fish who have been doing this for a while. So what is the best way of creating somewhere that you can start targeting people is by doing something different. If 98% of agencies are all offering the same thing, then you're going to be competing on price and not service, and that is not what we want to be doing. So just remember, what businesses want and what they need are two very different things, and often, more times than not, you cannot sell them what they need unless they want it. So you have to make it seem like you are, one, an expert in your field, 2, what you're giving them is so unique that they can't get it anywhere else, and 3, the value of what they're paying far exceeds the value of what they're going to get in return, and that is the way that you will succeed in the agency space. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, please, if you really did, smash that like button, leave me a comment down below on what you thought of the video, and also don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.